Every single year, the entire literary world just holds its breath. They're all waiting for that one phone call from Stockholm. It's the one that can take an author, even a really respected one, and turn them into a household name, a global legend. Well, this year, in 2025, that call went to someone you might call a true master of the apocalypse. That's right, the big prize, the 2025 Nobel in Literature, has gone to the Hungarian author László Krasznahorkai. Now you might be asking, who? Who exactly is this guy? He's famously private, a bit of a recluse, and why is his work, which, let's be honest, people often call bleak, difficult, and demanding, why is that suddenly getting the biggest celebration in the literary world? Well, that's what we're here to figure out. Let's dive in. All right, so let's get into the announcement itself. The date was October 9th, 2025. The Swedish Academy makes the big reveal, and it sends this very specific kind of shockwave through the literary community. They've given their top honor to this 71-year-old Hungarian novelist, and for a lot of people in the know, this choice was, it was both a total surprise and, at the same time, something they felt was a long, long time coming.
And just look at what the Academy actually said. This is their official citation. They're awarding it for his compelling and visionary that in the midst of apocalyptic terror reaffirms the power of art. Wow. Think about those words for a second. Apocalyptic terror sitting right next to the power of art. That contrast, that tension, that's everything when it comes to understanding his work. He's an author who is not afraid to stare right into the abyss, into complete chaos and collapse. But somehow he always manages to find this deep, profound, and often challenging beauty in it all. So this brings us to the man himself. Who is he? Well, like I mentioned, he's a really private guy. You're not going to see him doing the late-night talk show circuit, that's for sure. Really, the best way to get a handle on the man is to look at the journey his work has taken. So his whole journey to the Nobel, it all starts back in 1954 in a small town in Hungary. He grew up under a communist government, which is a huge piece of the puzzle. Then, boom, 1985, he drops his first novel, Side of Tango, and it's like a bomb goes off in the literary world, a totally new voice. Just 2 years later, he's out. He leaves Hungary for West Berlin, and that really kicks off this life of travel and living between cultures. His reputation just kept building and building, He snagged the Man Booker International Prize in 2015, which is a huge deal, and now, here we are, the Nobel. And you really can't overstate how important all that travel was to his writing. Sure, his roots are 100% Hungarian, but his perspective, it's totally global. He's drawn inspiration from, everywhere. The steppes of Mongolia, the back streets of East Asia, even Allen Ginsberg's apartment in New York City. The famous beat poet actually supported him for a while. So all of these different experiences, they all feed into this massive, universal vision he has.
Okay, so to really get why he won this prize, we absolutely have to talk about his style, the way he writes. Because reading one of his books, it's just not like anything else. It's tough, for sure, but it's also hypnotic. It's the kind of thing that just sticks with you. Honestly, with him, the style is the whole shebang. The Nobel folks put him in some pretty elite company, right alongside literary giants like Franz Kafka, and the words they use to describe his work are things like absurdism and the grotesque. So what does that actually mean? Well, think of it like this. He creates these worlds that are just a little bit off, They feel like they're constantly teetering on the edge of complete collapse. And it's in that weird space where things get bizarre and kind of darkly hilarious, but also super unsettling. That's where he tells his stories. But the thing everyone talks about, the most famous or maybe infamous part of his style, it's his sentences. When he won the Man Booker, the judges were just floored. They talked about his extraordinary sentences of incredible length that go to incredible lengths. And they weren't kidding. These things aren't just long sentences. They're like entire journeys in and of themselves.
And when we say long, we mean long. We're talking sentences that can run for an entire page. Sometimes a whole chapter is just 1 or 2 sentences, with barely any paragraph breaks. It creates this unstoppable, almost hypnotic momentum that just sucks you right into the minds of his characters. And look, it's not a gimmick. It's the whole point. It's his way of showing you a world where there are no easy answers, no clean breaks, no simple stopping points. As he put it himself, it's like reality examined to the point of madness.
So, after all that, how does the man himself describe what he does? He boils it all down to just 4 words. 4 perfect, kind of contradictory words. beauty in language, fun in hell. I mean, that's it, right there. That's his entire mission statement, finding this incredible elegance and beauty in worlds that are, well, often pretty bleak, chaotic, and downright hellish.
Okay, so at this point, you're probably intrigued, right? But maybe also a little intimidated? I get it. A writer this challenging, where do you even begin? His stuff is demanding, there's no doubt about it, but the payoff is huge. So let's talk about the two best places to start your journey. All right, so you have two main options. First, there's his debut, Satan Tango. It's this haunting, mesmerizing book about a collapsing farm community that's just waiting for a savior who might not even exist. Or you could jump into The Melancholy of Resistance. This one's more surreal. A mysterious circus comes to town, and it brings a giant stuffed whale with it, and the whole place just descends into absolute chaos. And a cool side note, both of these were turned into incredible, and I mean legendary, films by his collaborator, the director Béla Tarr.
So let's pull back for a second. Why does this Nobel matter? What's the bigger impact here? Because a Nobel Prize isn't just about celebrating one writer. It's always a statement. It's the literary world basically planting a flag and saying, this is the kind of art we think is important right now. And for years, decades even, Krasznahorkai has been what people call a writer's writer. You know, the kind of author that other authors are obsessed with. The absolute biggest names have been singing his praises forever. Susan Sontag called him the contemporary Hungarian master of apocalypse. W.G. Sebald talked about the universality of his vision. And the critic James Wood put it perfectly. He said his books get passed around like rare currency. They've always had this secret cult-like status among serious readers. So when you boil it all down, this award is doing two really important things. First, it puts Hungarian literature on the world stage, which is amazing. But maybe more importantly, it's a huge celebration of an artist who just refuses to compromise. Think about it. We live in an age of quick, bite-sized, easily digestible content, and the Nobel Committee just went and gave its biggest award to a guy who demands your complete, undivided attention. It's a massive statement that they value that kind of deep, challenging art. And of course, that prestige comes with a pretty hefty price tag. We're talking about a prize of around $1.2 million US. It's not just about the money, obviously, but that number is a powerful symbol of just how much cultural weight this award really carries. So I want to leave you with a final thought, a question to chew on. Reading László Krasznahorkai, it's not an easy ride. It's not a simple escape. What his books do is they ask you to slow way down, to get lost in these tangled, beautiful sentences, and to face some pretty uncomfortable truths about the world we live in. So the question is, in our world, a world of constant distraction and endless scrolling, what can we gain from an author who demands our complete, total attention? Maybe, just maybe, that's exactly what we need.